Thanks for making the decision to spend a few minutes working on your business rather than in your business, because as you can see, I have some cool stuff that I want to show you, because along the top here in these three spaces are three of the dumbest mistakes made by new and seasoned business operators when they are seeking to acquire new clients or boost customer numbers. And underneath all that is a sequence of strategies and tactics designed to unlock networks, open doors, and position you as the prize. Because if you've been around the block a few times, if you run your own business, you're probably a little bit sick and tired of the endless pursuit of new customers and clients, the ups, the downs, the swings and the roundabouts when running a small business, when working long days and late nights to bring on new customers and clients. You know what I'm talking about. And if this is your first rodeo, if you're just starting out, if you've got something new, you're probably wondering where to start. All you see in front of you is an endless, foggy mist. And it's this lack of clarity, this indecision, which stops most initiatives from building momentum. And it's usually this lack of structure, this lack of clarity, this lack of momentum that kills most new businesses before they are ever really given the chance to shine. That's why, before we tackle all this, I want to help you avoid three of the most common mistakes made by new and seasoned business operators when they are seeking to acquire new customers or boost customer numbers. So, what's number one? Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think is the surest way to kill a deal? What's the most reliable way to prevent a potential customer or client coming on board? I think that you might know the answer to this. It is, are you ready? Failure to follow up. It's failure to follow up. You know this, because 10 years ago, it would take 5 follow-up calls just to make contact. Now it takes 8 follow-up calls, not to close a deal, just to make contact. And yet, according to the statistics, most business operators give up after just 1 failed attempt to follow up, which kind of makes complete sense to me, because follow-up is tedious and sometimes it's a little bit scary, and I suspect that it can also be a bit damaging to the soul over the longer term. It's tedious, it's scary, it's damaging to the soul, but of course there is a solution. In fact, there are 3. Are you ready? Automation, delegation, detonation, and I'll talk about all those 3 in a little bit. But for now, I want to make this clear. When I talk about failure to follow up, I'm not just talking about the prospects you have on your books, the leads you've been diligently collecting, all the potential new business in your pipeline. I'm also talking about your greater network, existing and past customers and clients who could easily become repeat customers and clients. I'm even talking about your personal networks, which, whether you believe this or not, are usually loaded with champions and advocates and potential referral partners for you and your brand. Yes, failure to follow up is the biggest sales and marketing sin of all. But if that's the biggest, what is the second? What is the second biggest mistake? That is heedlessly and sometimes aggressively following up scaredy cat clients. Yes, we need to follow up. Failure to follow up is a big problem, but we don't want to waste our time following up the wrong type of person or organization, the tie kickers, the cheapskates, the time wasters. Every seasoned business owner has been caught in this time-sapping, soul-destroying trap. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about chasing a type of business or organization that I call the scaredy cat client. And what's that? What's a scaredy cat client? That's someone who makes all the right noises, they demand your full attention, and then they go cold. And then it's back on again. They want you, they need you, and then they go cold. And then, should you actually sign on a scaredy cat client or customer, they want your full attention, but at the same time, they are just plain indecisive. They are difficult to bring on board and then almost impossible to service, because at the end of the day, they don't really trust you. Now, once upon a time, people would boast statistics like, we have a 90% customer satisfaction rating. We have a customer satisfaction guarantee. Well, I gotta tell you, customer or client satisfaction is no longer enough. If you want to stay in business, if you want to be in business for the long haul, satisfaction is no longer enough. You need to delight. And scaredy cat clients will never be delighted. They always want more, but they want to pay you less. They question all your decisions. They simply don't trust you. They are the worst. So we need to follow up, but we also need to be discerning about who we follow up and who we should politely turn away. Now, there's a challenge here you might have noticed. There may be a contradiction. If we need to follow up, but we don't want to waste our time with the time wasters, how do we spot those scaredy cat clients so we can avoid them or refer them elsewhere? Well, of course, I have one or two strategies to help you with that right here. But one immediate fix is to avoid mistake number 3. What's mistake number 3? What's this third mistake? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop attempting to present yourself as a jack of all trades, because this smiling face here is Jack, and Jack is a fool. Just because you can service most people doesn't mean you should. Just because most people or organizations could perhaps benefit from your product or service, that doesn't mean that you should target and chase and pursue anyone and everyone with a pulse. Because we all know plenty of business owners who do just that, and it's the surest way to appear fickle, needy, and run yourself ragged. And it is the opposite of positioning you and your business as the prize. Because you want to be the prize, right? You want to be in demand. Well, stop trying to be everything for everyone. You see lawyers making this mistake all the time. They say, we specialize in family law and contract law and property law. And you're thinking you specialize in all 3, do you? We're specialists in tax law and maritime law and animal husbandry law, if that was a real thing. You can see where I'm heading. But for now, it pays to have clarity about who you'll work with and what you will do for them, because that way you won't have to reinvent the wheel with every project. No more time wasted trying to assemble bespoke quotes and proposals. And of course, if you know who you are on the planet to serve, if you know the exact type of person that your product or service was designed to help, you will also know what prospects or what clients or which customers are right for you and which are not right for you, and you will begin to become a little bit more discerning. It pays to have clarity about who you'll work with and who you will not work with. So those are 3 big mistakes. Failure to follow up, the wasteful pursuit of scaredy cat clients, and the very common mistake of attempting to be something for everyone. And down here, we have 3 big cures, solutions, and workarounds to avoid these 3 big pitfalls. In fact, while I'm solving these 3 big problems, we'll be working together through a sequence of lessons and strategies and no-brainer tactics designed to unlock networks, to open doors, and position you as the prize. So what's behind door number 1? What's behind door number 1? Well, whenever I speak to a small business owner about client acquisition, they usually say something like, all I need is to get in front of the right people. All I need to do is get my foot in the door. All I need is a bit of exposure, some more awareness, some extra visibility. Well, I hate to break it to you, but being memorable trumps being visible any day of the week. Did you catch that? Being memorable trumps being visible any day of the week. Most business owners spend a lot of their time meeting people. They also have access to their own networks of customers and clients who could become repeat customers and clients. Even new business operators also have personal networks that they tend to leave untapped because they don't want to bother anyone. They don't want to be a bother. I got to tell you, most personal networks would love to become advocates and champions and referral partners. They want you to succeed. They want to help you too, if you will only let them. So I said it before, failure to follow up is a big no-no, which is why At least 2 to 4 times a year, I apply this strategy here behind door 1. And it's a strategy that most business owners have never applied like ever. No one does this. So what I want to help you do here is to unlock the database that is already under your nose. Whether you know it or not, you already have a network, even if you are just starting out. So let's do this. We're going to conduct a mini audit, and because audits are kind of boring, we're going to do this fast and have some fun. So let me ask you, how many people do you think you have in your own network? How many? Can you make a guess? If you have a piece of paper or a notepad and a pen, reach for it now and make a guess. How big is your network, your community, your database? Make a guess and write it down. Have you done that? Cool, because most people assume that they have under 1,000 people on average in their network. In fact, most people assume that they have about 500. For those that they think they have a network under 1,000, most think that they have a network of about 500. And then there are the rare few who hit me with a big number, something like 3,142 or 23,400. These are the rare few, the ones with the big numbers, and they usually can tell me the size of their network with a high degree of clarity. Everyone else? Not so much. Most people, when I run this exercise, believe that they have a network that's about this size, 500 to 1,000, and most of the time they are seriously underestimating the size of their networks. Yes, their networks are usually a lot larger than they first assume. So let me ask you this. How many contacts do you suppose you have right now in your contacts in your email account? I'm talking about email contacts. I'm talking about Outlook or Gmail, whatever you use for sending emails. How many contacts do you suppose your email account has collected for you over time? Because when I talk to people, they usually say that they have about 300 to 500 people as email contacts. But I'll tell you what, if you're just starting out, if you've been in business for less than a year, you're going to have at least 500. If you've been in business for a year or two, you could have 1,500 plus, maybe even 2,000. You have a network. So what is number 2? What about your LinkedIn connections? What about your LinkedIn connections? Well, most people who use LinkedIn, excuse my writing, the average user of LinkedIn has about 500 connections. The average user of LinkedIn has about 500 connections, and the average CEO has 900 connections. Now, did you know that you can export your contacts from LinkedIn? You can also export your contacts from your email account. Can you see what's happening here? What about number 3? What about past customers and clients? What about past customers and clients? If you've been around the block once or twice, you will have a network of past customers and clients that could potentially be repeat customers and clients. What else we got going on here? Do you have a social media network? Do you have a social media following? Do you have any followers on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest? A lot of businesses have business social media accounts, and just about everyone has personal social media accounts. And what's number 5? What's number 5? How about that big box of business cards? That big box of business cards that's probably sitting on your desk. Maybe you've got a little pile here and you've got a little pile there. Me personally, I have a little pile of business cards near my front door at home. I have a little pile of business cards on my desk at the office. And then of course I have the big shoebox under my desk where I collect them all. You already have a network under your nose. This is not rocket science. What we are doing here is we're consolidating the list that you already have in one place. So I'm going to suggest to you that you spend a little bit of time exporting contacts and putting them in an Excel spreadsheet. So let's work out how much time this is going to take and how much it is going to cost you. Well, if you want to export your email contacts, it's probably going to take you about 10 minutes and cost you nothing. Yes, there's always a button where you can export your email contacts. Did you know that you can do the same with LinkedIn? Sure, it might be a little bit more tricky. Let's say it's 20 minutes, but it's not so hard either. You can export that list into a customer database. Where are you going to find your past customers? Your past customers and clients? Well, you've probably got some sort of invoicing system or maybe an accounting system like QuickBooks or Quicken or Xero, and you might have to reach out to your accountant to access that data. And let's say that there is 30 minutes. At the moment, we've achieved half of this exercise in less than an hour. What about your social media networks? Every now and then, post something on your social media networks that say, would you like a free opt-in gift, or would you like to subscribe to my email newsletter? Now, you won't get a lot, but you will get the hyper responsive, people who are definitely interested in what it is that you do. And what about that big box of business cards? Well, it comes down to the size of the box. But what I can tell you is that there are plenty of apps out there on your iPhone or your Android phone that will allow you to scan your business cards and export that data into an Excel spreadsheet. Because once you consolidate your lists, you will quickly discover that your list is probably a lot bigger than 500 to 1,000. In fact, I don't think I've conducted this exercise and ever come out with a number less than around 1,500. So you already have a network. The biggest challenge is that most people never stop and take the time to consolidate their network. And why was this exercise useful? Because once you have consolidated your lists, you have acquired something wonderful, something better than the list itself. You have acquired clarity. You'll have a number which is a benchmark, because you can't improve what you can't measure, okay? And you have unlocked a network already under your nose. And of course, this is the first step towards waking your network, unlocking opportunities, repeat customers and clients, and referral networks. But is it okay to just add that list to, say, your email newsletter database? Is it okay to start blasting those people with your monthly or weekly email newsletter, people who have not opted in? I'm going to tell you what's okay and what's not okay in the next video. In fact, I'm going to open door number 2. I'm going to reveal 3 strategies to reactivate sleeping or disengaged audiences, to wake your newly consolidated network and get you some immediate, easy wins. We're going to pick some of that low-hanging fruit already in your network and push your business forward in ways that will prevent you from accidentally pursuing those scaredy cat clients ever again. And speaking of scaredy cat clients, before I wind up this first video, I want you to leave a comment below. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to share one small lesson or take home from this video that maybe struck a chord, that resonated with you. Maybe it's a small observation or a lesson that you could share with others, because by tapping out a comment, you'll be reinforcing that lesson in your own mind, and you'll be helping others who maybe missed that point, who picked up on something else. So do yourself a favor and do others a favor by leaving a comment below. And if you're feeling really courageous, let me know, what does a scaredy cat client look like to you? What's a signal that they might give off, a red flag, letting you know that this potential customer or client could be trouble? You know what you want in a customer or client, but have you ever stopped to consider what you do not want? Let's come back to that in a later video. But for now, leave a comment and unlock the next lesson, and maybe even score yourself a useful tool or resource. Click that button that's somewhere on this page, and I'll see you soon.